And if you ask me, what are the two areas where the 49ers have regressed the most? It is blocking and tackling this year. They're terrible at both of it. And then their wide receivers are just abysmal. This football season just needs to come to an end with no one getting hurt. And the good news is, Larry, and here's our Grinch, they lost yesterday. That's good news. That's good news.
Yeah, it was. It was for their draft position. I mean, and people would say, oh, dude, how could you root for that? Because I'm a real 49er fan. So I root for them to win the Super Bowl. And when they can't win the Super Bowl, I root for them to win the next Super Bowl. And so they can't win this Super Bowl. I want to see them tank, lose, and get a better draft pick so they can potentially win next year's Super Bowl. I think it shouldn't be all that hard to understand or grasp. I'm not a coach on the team. I'm not a player on the team. I understand why they don't want to tank. I understand why they're going to keep going hard, but that's not in my interest as a fan. In my interest as a fan, I want to see them lose. I rooted for them to win enough, but I would like them to have the 86 draft where they get a top 10 pick, trade from 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 19, 19 to 22, 22 to 24, and then pick somebody in the mid-20s with a whole army full of extra picks.
If you're going to be doing business with Brock on the top shelf pricing of liquor, you have to do that. You're going to have value filling out the back end of your roster. And also, this team absolutely needs an infusion of the next generation of future Niners. They need them now. They are getting old in front of our eyes, right? They really are. Let's be totally honest what's happening here. This is not a tanking football team. This is a team that unfortunately didn't have the year that it wanted to have. This isn't tanking. Tanking is calling it a year and deciding we're not really here to compete before the season even starts. That's tanking. This is pivoting the right way to secure the best possible future. And as it stands right now, you said, Larry, they're sitting right outside of the top 10, right outside of the top 10 of the upcoming NFL draft with two opportunities to improve that position. And I think if you're losing games with the best of your best out there in your starters, and now, I mean, like that final drive of that game where Brock put himself in jeopardy with his biggest scramble of the day. I mean, what if he had hurt himself right there, Larry? What? It's a 3-score game. It's not going to happen. But, now you're playing hair on fire, no huddle football in a game that is lost in a season that is disintegrated. You were eliminated right from the playoffs before the game kicked off. And I just wouldn't expose anyone who is part of next year's plan to any further wear and tear of this season. I know it doesn't quite work like that in football. You don't have 22 reserves ready to go to play for all your 22 starters. But whenever you can take an important player off the field, I think Kyle should be doing that and then replacing him with a guy that you're getting a good look at. The fact that Abinaconda got zeros yesterday, I think is one of the most disappointing aspects of the entire game. A player I've never seen, a player I really don't care about, but might be an important piece going forward. Like, try it. Try him.
And Debo looked good yesterday. Finally.
He did.
But you know what? Guess what? The guy called out everybody, made an ass of himself, choked in the biggest moment of the year, and then when the team was out of it, started raining threes. Awesome. You know what I mean? You literally had the turnover that cost the team the season. You had the non-catch that cost the team the game that cost them the season. But then you come off the bench in garbage time and you're just raining threes and everything you touch is going through the net.
He's once a month, man. He'll have a good game once every 4 weeks. And it's like the vicious cycle of, hey, we're really good. Oh, no, we suck again. Hey, we're really good. Oh, no, we suck again. It's like the constant cycle that brings you back to believing just enough to then be disappointed. And then he does something and you're like, maybe I can keep believing. And
he's coming back, by the way. All these people are like, oh, well, Debo won't be here. No, Debo's going to be here.
He will be.
Debo's going to be here. He's Kyle's best buddy, best friend, best whatever. There you go.
Look, as Matt Mayoko explained it to me, due to the way his contract is structured, it will cost more money to walk away from him than to keep him. And he's not a useless player, but he is a little bit more of a gadget guy, and he is not the caliber or ilk of a starting wide receiver in this league. He cannot be, your X or your Y. He really can. He's not a starting caliber wide receiver. He's a complementary player. When in the right situation, he can present himself as, quite a weapon. But to ask
he was good yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all we can really say. He was good yesterday. He was horrible the week before when he dropped everything coming his way, when he insisted to the world that he wasn't struggling. He just wasn't seeing the ball. Then the ball came his way, and he showed us that he was struggling. In this last game, he showed us that he wasn't dead, and now Shanahan will almost assuredly bring him back. But to me, the first issue with the 49ers, and it's a glaring one, and it came up in this game, and it's like if you watch the 49ers every week, you start to become blind to the trends because you're seeing the same thing every week, and we're so used to seeing it that it seems normal and it seems okay, and it's neither. Issue number one is that the 49ers cannot run effectively in short yardage or on the goal line in those situations for two reasons. They aren't good, big, and powerful enough in the middle. Jake Brendel is a 32-year-old street free agent who's about 285 pounds. You got your season out of him. He had a Pro Bowl alternate season. Then they don't have a power back who can punch it in. Everybody else in the NFL, if you watch them, they get inside the 5 and they punch it in, run it in. The 49ers don't try to run it in because they know they can't.
Or you're so convinced that they're about to punch it in and slam it up the middle that the entire defense bites on play action, and that's a juicy open toss for any quarterback. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if you don't have the threat of we're going to pound it, the effective play action that, this team used to live off of, it doesn't even work anymore.
You've got one big bodied back in JP Mason, but he's got small man skills. He likes to dance. He likes to, as far as at the line of scrimmage, he likes to, he's not a power back. He's a big power body, but he's kind of a small man's game. Garendo, the same thing. He's 220 pounds, but he's truly a sprinter. He's a high school wide receiver converted. He's a sprinter. He's got great speed. They don't have a Najee Harris. They don't have a big power back. First series, Patrick Taylor completely stuffed running right on 3rd and 1, and they punt. That is the 49ers' first problem. The first problem they have is that their line in the interior is not stout enough. They don't keep bodies off of Brock in the middle. They don't keep pressure out of his face. They don't run the ball effectively at the point of attack in short yardage or goal line. And they gave up a shit ton of pressures. I mean, this 49er offensive line gave up 3 sacks, 6 hits on the quarterback. Taylor only averaged 3 yards per carry. And as I said, he couldn't run it worth a damn on short yardage or on the goal line. The 49ers offensive line is bad, and it needs to be redone. And no quote from Chris Forster. Chris, I love you, but you can only cover your guys so much. The film is out there. You cannot run, you cannot pass block. You're not moving anybody in the run game. It's gotten to a point that the 49ers have quit. And when I say, what do you quit? Oh my God, that's a serious accusation, Larry. They've quit. They have quit. They've absolutely quit on trying to run the ball on the goal line. On the one where they settled for the Jake Moody 21-yard field goal at the end of the second quarter when they were down 13-7 and they should have gone up 14-13 at half. They get to 1st and goal from the 7. They do a Deebo run misdirection on 1st and goal. He gets 3 yards. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 4. Every team in pro football would run the ball 3 times on 2nd and goal from the 4 and punch it in. What do the Niners do on 2nd and goal? They drop Purdy back. He has nobody available. He runs around and throws it away. They get the 3rd down. They drop Purdy back to pass again. Brendel gets absolutely pushed into the lap of the quarterback, and Purdy gets a ball tipped. So now it's 4th and goal, and they trot on Jake Moody for your loser 21-yard field goal. You're a loser for kicking a field goal on 4th and 6 when you've been eliminated from the playoffs in the second quarter. You should have gone up 14-13 and said you're 13-10. That kind of loser football is why they suck. right
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
they cannot run. They don't have a back. They don't have a line. They don't have a coach that has any guts. Goodbye. The whole thing. Let's just phone it in the rest of the year. That's how this football team is.
So, I mean, here's the thing. If you want to go full flush the whole thing, goodbye Shanahan, goodbye Brock.
No, I'm not saying fire everybody. I'm just saying
okay.
This season is done. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about people propping up these bad players, bad coaches. Stop it. Stop it. Look, Deebo hadn't had a good day in 2 months. And you got people saying, oh, yeah, Deebo showed them. Deebo showed nobody. Deebo just showed the rest of the NFL he's not dead and that his career is not totally over. But I'm sorry, one good game every 2 months doesn't give you bragging rights.
It's tough to say we're here to run the ball when you're on your fifth running back. I'll grant you that. Like, you're as far into a depth chart as a team is allowed to be. So you're on your fifth running back.
And that's fine as long as your sixth running back isn't good. Like, if the rest of the running backs that are going to play from this point on all suck, then fine. It was just you're on your fifth running back. But if one of these guys can actually play the way that Brock Purdy can play, then what are we doing?
Well,
seriously, what are we doing? We're spinning our wheels.
Yesterday was the most abandoned rushing attack of the entire season. Running backs, and I'm going to, for the thought exercise that we're having, going to label Debo Samuel a running back just to make this point. But running backs only ran the ball 14 times yesterday. Yeah. 5 carries for Deebo, 8 carries for Patrick Taylor Jr., and 1 carry for Kyle Juszczyk. Brock ran for his own life and survival on 4 different times, 4 different occasions, and he ended up being the leading rusher of the day for the San Francisco 49ers by a yard. So did Kyle not run the ball because he's on his 5th running back and he doesn't have faith in anyone, Patrick Taylor included? Or did he not run the ball because his offensive line gets absolutely no push and everything you ever heard from your JV high school football coach was right? This game is about blocking and tackling only. That's it. Throwing the football, that's for the who aren't strong enough to block and tackle. Running the football, any fast kid in the world who doesn't drop can do that. Catching a football, all right, let's just go throw some at you, and the one who catches the most, you'll be the guy who catches the football. But this entire sport is played at the line of scrimmage when it matters. And if you ask me, what are the 2 areas where the 49ers have regressed the most? It is blocking and tackling this year. They're terrible at both of it. And then their wide receivers are just abysmal. They really, really are. And having said all of that, with everything going wrong, with the blocking going wrong, with everything going wrong, with nothing happening, Brock Purdy somehow, some way was still yesterday's NFL's 4th leading passer. This son of a threw for over 300 yards with a 7.8 average, and there wasn't out there helping him. Kittle had a good day. Deebo had a good day. But the fact that Brock, it's one of those games. You're watching the game, nothing's really happening. It's unexciting. It's uninspirational, and then you open up the box score and you're like, holy shit, he was over 300 yards. And
they threw the ball 40 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Where was the balance here? And they didn't have any balance because they can't run. They can't run the ball.
Did Kyle abandon the run because of his running backs or because of his offensive line?
Why did he abandon the run? Because Miami has been shutting the run down and did in this game. They absolutely have been shutting the run down. I said it in the pregame. I said it's going to be really tough sledding against this Dolphins run defense. You may need to see Brock pass. So it's not like it's totally crazy that they try to pass in this game. But once again, you're dropping your quarterback back. You have no balance. So you're not running it effectively. So your play action doesn't work. Your offensive line doesn't hold the point. I mean, this is a team that didn't have Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips or any of their real rushers. Imagine if the Dolphins actually had real rushers. The bottom line for the 49ers is they're a bad team. They're a bad team that didn't beat anybody that was good this year. They beat the Jets in week 1. The Jets are horse. They beat the Patriots in week 4. The Patriots are one of the worst rosters ever. They got a fortunate win against Seattle when Seattle was down early in the year. They beat Dallas. Dallas is horrible. The only even decent win they've had all year was a 3-point home win over the Buccaneers, who showed up with no Mike Evans and no Chris Godwin. So way to go. You got a 3-point win over an injured Bucs team at home in the middle of the year. Other than that, you're the only other team you beat was the Bears. Well, and this is a horse 49er team. This team sucks. Yeah, they couldn't beat anybody. They didn't deserve to go to the playoffs. You got a bunch of guys with big egos and big attitude and no game. It's time to shut it down and clean house. And then the lack of discipline of this football team means some of these coaches have to go as well. Most notably, the special teams coach. You can't have more ups on special teams all season long. Sorry, Brian Schneider. Go move somewhere else. You need to go. Kyle Shanahan, what are you doing? Why didn't you challenge the spot on Patrick Taylor Jr.'s 3rd-and-1 run on the first play? Is that you've given up? Yeah. Have you given up? Because it sure sent a loud message to everybody else. You got Tony Romo going, hey, it looks like he actually got it there. Yeah, it looks like they actually got it there. Oh, I guess they're not going to challenge it. All right, Wishnowsky back to punt. I mean, the film showed that he got it. I mean, why are you not challenging that? Have you quit? If you don't want to use your challenge in a meaningless game in the first quarter? I mean, why punch it all? This is like, Kyle didn't. What, he was saving his challenge for a bigger moment in the game, like he was doing in the NFC title game, first drive of the Eagles, where there was a clear challenge that, Kyle, you didn't. Now Eagles are up. You should have treated this game like a developmental game, which means I should have seen a lot more of the developmental players: Jalen Graham, Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, whatever young players you feel like you have that you haven't played yet. So put your young guys out there. Stop risking guys. No more Greenlaw. No more Bosa. No more Brock. No more Deebo. No more, Pooney. No more of anybody that could potentially get killed and hurt you for next year. Play your bench. Anyone you think is a week 1 starter, if you can get them off the field in these final 2 weeks, you should do it. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.